Good morning, guys, and it's a beautiful morning, and I just want to update you guys how's my tooth doing. I'm actually making breakfast for Olivia today, and I just want to give you guys a history about my tooth. Why did I end up pulling it out at this age? I'm in my early 30s, and going back when I was a kid, like around, let me see, 10 or 11 years old, I had a cavity in that tooth. And that tooth had a lot of cavity, which they end up doing a root canal. Yes, I was still young, and they end up doing a root canal.
So that's what happened to my mom?
So when I was a kid, they gave two options to my mom: to extract the tooth or treat it. So we went for the option to treat that tooth, and the only way that was going to be treated was with a root canal. And I'll show you in a second what did I mean by a full development tooth when you're an adult, and versus the kid when it's barely development. So just give me 1 second and I'll show you. Okay, this is very good. You guys see here how the apex a little bit open, it's not closed. This is the root of the tooth. This is not closed. These ones are the next teeth that are coming up, but this is your first molar that comes out. In my point is that if you guys see by not developed correctly, it's not developed yet correctly, it's because the apex are not closed like an adult. Let me show you the versus the adult. Okay, so here's the difference. You see how it is like pointy, nice and rounded. This is an adult. So I went like this through my elementary school, middle school, high school, and once I started college for dentistry is when you start noticing things, because I did went to school, guys. I went for the dental assistant for college, and you start learning reading, you start learning things that it makes more sense. So I went through that, and once I started my job, then you start knowing the doctors, and you start talking to them, and once I was confident and I knew the doctor, I went to a specialist. We're talking about years now. To a specialist that just specialized on root canals, and he ended up retreating my tooth by redo the root canal. And after I got my root canal retreat, I got my dream crown, guys. Meaning by a dream crown, it was that when I had my first root canal, my parents probably could not afford a porcelain crown, so they end up putting a silver crown, which I was so embarrassed during high school. I didn't want to smile because you could see that metal thing right there. It's probably just me, because probably no one noticed it, but as a child I was so embarrassed because when you smile you could see the metal thing popping out. But yeah, meaning my dream crown. It was back then in days, it was mostly like in the bottom had gold. It was actual gold, and the top was porcelain. So that was the thing back then, that your gums were not gonna turn black. And it's a lot of history behind the golden metal gold. So yeah, crown. I got my gold crown, guys, which I was so happy. I was able to smile. I felt confidence on myself, so I was so happy. It probably lasts the root canal like good 5 years before I had to go see again the specialist. When I went back, my root canal has been failed again, and there was an infection under the apex of the tooth. So the only option at this point was to do apectomy, which it means they open your gums on the side of the tooth, and they cut bone to access to the canals of the tooth, and they chop off the little tip of the tooth. the next option. So this is your tooth. For me, it was my molar. So they had to open, cut a bit some bone, and then they just cut this part, fill it with the special material, and sew it up and make you, hopefully, it lasts for a long time. That was the step. After that, probably like 2 years after, it got reinfected again. By then, I was like, I'm just gonna treat it with medication. So I ended up taking medication. I was fine for a couple years. I redid my crown because by then it was leaking again. So I redo my crown, and this time I went for a full zirconia, which means full porcelain. Now is the big thing going on, just full porcelain crown. And I really liked it because the crown was strong, didn't break or anything. So that was a big plus for me. But I still had the infection. It came back and it came back. Because the infection came back and back again, it started showing in my blood work. And my blood work, white cells came out very elevated. It means there's some sort of infection in your body that's it's triggering it to go elevated really up. So I really didn't think about it too much that it could be related to my tooth. So I continued my life normally. And my actual doctor, my general doctor, saw that my white cells were very elevated, so she was concerned. So they ended up sending me with the specialist of cancer, which means just to monitor me more closely, because why are my cells being so elevated? The white ones are like high risk for cancer. So they ended up sending me there. They did a lot of blood work. It came out normal, no signs of tumors, no signs of anything, so that it's good. I just need one more test to be done to just rule off the cancer on my body, but which is a big procedure. They go into your hips on your side, and they stick a big needle, and they pull out a little bit of bone, and they send it to the lab, and they examine it to make sure that there's no like cancer cells in there or anything that it might be trigger for cancer. That's what is happening. And at this point that I'm seeing that my tooth is still infected, I decided that it was time to go ahead and remove it. But I just didn't want to go ahead and remove it without replacing it. So I waited until my insurance approved it, then I went for it. I'm hoping that my white cells go back to normal. Obviously, it's not gonna be right away. It's gonna take some time to go back to normal, because I'm taking medications, so that will go back to normal. But once I stop the medications is when you're gonna find out really if it make a huge difference in my body or not. I hope it does, and hopefully I will see the specialist once a year instead of every 8 months or every 6 months. By then, I'm not gonna find out soon. It's gonna take some time just to find out. But that's my story with my tooth. And if you could see, it's a little bit swollen on my left side. I cannot point because Amelia's nursing, but I don't feel pain. I've been drinking some painkillers and antibiotics to hopefully to prevent any infections. But at this point, because they put the implant, it's just a waiting game. Hopefully my body does not reject the implant, because it could reject it. It means by rejecting it, you could have non-stop pain, gets a little bit more swollen than it already is. So it's just a waiting game right now. Just hopefully my body accepts it, and hopefully for next year I could get my actual crown in. But we'll see. I'll guys follow, subscribe, so you could keep following my my story with my tooth. Okay guys, so I'm gonna finish this video today, and please give some thumbs up, don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button, and we'll see you until next time guys. Bye.